Now we're going to look at baking vertex weights. What baking means is actually dialing in the existing values of every single vertex to how they're weighted to each bone and making that permanent and outside of the envelopes. Currently, the envelopes affect all of the weights of the vertices. If I make a change to an envelope size, it changes the weights of the vertices. You can only get so far, especially with the envelopes in skin, because they can't be adjusted all that much. Envelopes in something like physique are a little bit more controllable, but even still, you can only get so far because it's very much of a sort of a soft area effect type idea. You end up, if you need to change one vertice, even in a physique modifier, it's next to impossible without adjusting something else next to it a little bit. We need to be able to change vertices one at a time, and then in groups and whatnot as well, but you really need to be able to get down to a finite level of dialing in vertex weights. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to bake all of the vertices and essentially remove them from the effects of the envelopes. So with vertices, select vertices turned on, I'm just going to go in and select all of the vertices in the entire model. And then down here it says bake selected vertices in the skin modifier. When I bake those, you'll now notice that the weights didn't change, but now if I change the envelope size, you'll notice that there's absolutely no change happening anymore to the weights of the vertices. At this point, the envelopes have no more effect. We can always reset them and say reset selected vertices, and they're now reset back to actually be affected by the envelopes. You have a choice basically. You either affect your vertices via envelopes or you affect them in a weighting method. You can't do both. In other words, you can't use envelopes, paint weights, and then say reset selected vertices to have them included back to the envelopes without losing any paint weighting or ABS weighting on each vertice that you're going to do. That information will just be lost because you are back to the envelopes at that point. So this is a step. We've used the envelopes now to get us as close as we can. We've played and tweaked with them. We've got nice sort of soft joint areas going, but now we need to get in and actually dial in some specific vertice weights to specific bones to make sure that we're getting the kind of deformations that we really want. So again, I'm just going to hit bake again since I'd turned that off. And now what we can do is we can actually start painting weights. Once again, using our poses is the best way to start. And what I'll do maybe is I'll start with the arm here, since the arm is obviously having some troubles with the weighting going on. And what we can do is look at different ways of being able to adjust that arm to get it to deform a bit differently. Maybe work out how we can get it to bend a bit better. Right now, I've taken a look at it. If you notice when it actually bends, it's quite soft in the middle. It needs to actually be a bit harder. And of course, when it starts to fold up more, it starts to crash into each other. Well, this is going to be a very difficult character, like I said, to skin properly because all of these joints are very large. Thin, noodly characters are always the best kind of characters for beginners to start with because they're very easy to get the joints working reasonably well and looking pretty good. Easier to animate and everything, and of course lighter on mesh. More complicated characters like this one that we're using in the intermediate level DVDs, a lot more is required to be able to get your joints to actually start looking like joints, your muscles to start looking like muscles. So we're going to use multiple different methods to get some of this working properly. What we're going to do is, again, we're going to start with the ABS effect first. I'll show you how that works. Right now, if we go to the forearm bone, you can see its effect moves up to about here and then stops. Maybe we want to start including some of these vertices in the bicep area, so we push some of that out of the way. May not be what I want, but let's just use it.